and her offspring will only remain together for a few weeks, until they're strong enough to head off into the wilderness on their own. In the meantime, the family's keeping a low profile, and her presence alone does a good job of discouraging would-be predators. Eastern king snakes hunt other snakes, and baby rattlesnakes make for easy prey. Thelma's not shy to let her enemies know she's around. A rattled warning is a rattlesnake's first line of defense. It's the signature sound of the desert, synonymous with danger. It's the reason for Thelma and her family's infamous status as symbols of the American Southwest. Young snakes shed their entire skin every few months. But rattlesnakes are born with a tiny button at the end of their tails, and this becomes the matrix for their rattles. Each time they shed, a modified scale remains behind and adds another segment to the rattle. Operating at up to 2,000 cycles per second, the shaker muscles used to vibrate the segments are some of the fastest known to man. And they have an all-or-nothing function. The muscles work only at full capacity, and they don't get tired. It's a similar level of muscle control that links Thelma to her African cousin, but in quite the opposite way. Velvet is a West African Gaboon viper, or adder. She is silent, solitary, and is rarely seen. Her beautifully tapestried scales render her invisible on the forest floor. But her quiet demeanor and incredible loveliness belies her deadly nature. Velvet's like a highly trained assassin, capable of infinite patience and extreme muscle control. She can wait motionless for days, weeks, or even months, and then unleash a sudden, powerful attack. Armed with fangs up to 2 inches long, Gaboon vipers not only have the longest snake fangs, they're also the largest and heaviest viper species in existence. But Velvet's not aggressive and prefers to stay hidden. She rarely attacks, and then only to predate or defend herself. Most of the time, no one even knows she's around until it's too late. Velvet and Thelma the rattlesnake live worlds apart, but they share a simple mission in life: to stay alive and grow their families. It's a game of survival, but what happens if you don't have Thelma's early warning system, her badass attitude, and legend?
Looking for something nice? Phone numbers? Emails? Home address? Excellent choice. You're done.
McAfee Plus is like having a private detective.
legendary status. Or velvet's size, stealth, lethal patience, and immense weaponry. Meet Nala. She's not as showy as Thelma, nor as beautiful as Velvet, but she belongs to a group of tough little vipers, the puff adders. They're small, but formidable killers, and they're going about the survival game a little differently. They've built a fearsome name for themselves through sheer numbers and tenacity. Spread throughout Africa and southern Arabia, puff adders occupy one of the widest distributions of all viper species. They're adaptable and hardy, and can survive in a wide range of habitats, in the wild and alongside humans. Puff adders are masters of disguise. Their skins come in a range of color variations, sometimes making them hard to identify. But for one distinguishable feature: the chevron markings on their backs. Displaying such blatant warning signs on their own bodies and living so close to humans, puff adders have had to learn to operate under the radar. Velvet has few, if any, natural predators as an adult, and rarely comes into contact with humans. While Thelma does, she plays fair, giving her enemies a chance, warning them before they get too close. But puff adders don't run from fights. When faced with danger, they hunker down. Classic viper ambush tactic. Nala has attitude. She fights dirty. And it's earning her a bad reputation. For Nala the puff adder, life in an African village is fraught with danger. Dogs don't like her, and neither do people. When she senses a potential threat nearby, like most vipers, fleeing isn't her first reaction. While Thelma the rattlesnake warns off her enemies, Nala prefers to draw as little attention to herself as possible. She freezes, her camouflage allowing her to blend into her surroundings. She waits for the threat to pass. In this way, Nala conserves her energy and venom for when it's really needed. It's a good strategy. If discovered, she could be hurt or even killed by the villagers. But sometimes she's so well camouflaged, perceived threats unknowingly get too close and are often bitten when they accidentally step too near, sometimes even on top of a puff adder. This shoot first, ask questions later attitude has earned puff adders a bad reputation. But it's not entirely undeserved, because puff adders kill humans every year. Death from a western diamondback rattlesnake bite is virtually unheard of, and no fatalities from a Gaboon viper bite have ever been